Your snack game might just be the missing link to your performance goals as a dancer. And today, that's exactly what we're gonna learn how to optimize. I'm Rachel Fine, registered dietitian nutritionist and founder of To The Point Nutrition. A dancer's performance is a direct result of hard work and motivation. So where does food fit into this? There's a lot of myths and a ton of antiquated ideals, and I'm here to dispel those. Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist working with dancers to teach them how to utilize food in the most supportive way possible. I often talk about the importance of balance within our meals and how we are fueling ourselves consistently throughout the day. But this work really is not possible without one very important factor, and those are snacks. But a lot of dancers struggle with getting snacks in. Some of it lends itself to just the overall stigma of snacking. Many dancers might relate snacking to being similar to behaviors like noshing or grazing throughout the day, maybe grazing on what often ends up being more carbohydrate-rich foods like snacking on chips or pretzels or whatnot. This isn't to say that these items aren't great snacks, because actually they can be incorporated into fabulous snacks. But when I'm referring to snacking, I'm referring to taking advantage of key opportunities throughout our day to get in more nutrients and more energy that's ultimately gonna support us as dancers. To build the basic framework of a consistent and reliable dancer fueling plan, sometimes 1, 2, 3, maybe even more snacks might be essential to get you through your day. For dancers who are navigating double headers, and I'm talking about hours of morning classes followed by hours of afternoon rehearsals and then hours of evening performances, dancers can get in somewhere up to 4 to 5 snacks throughout their extended time awake just to get them between extended periods of meals. Also, during these busy and hectic days, getting in full meals in of itself might be impractical, let alone impossible. So replacing some meals with 2 smaller snacks might be a dancer's best bet, especially to get them to their energy baseline that's going to get them through a performance. So when it comes to building our optimal snack plan, we want to remember the importance of timing, convenience, practicality, and then also going back to that incredibly important word, balance. Smaller, balanced, and nutrient-rich options spread consistently throughout our days can definitely support a dancer's overall goals, even while navigating anything from on-the-go schedules to backstage quick changes. But how can dancers snack smartly? Well, let's look into the type of training that a dancer partakes in. Dancing in of itself, we would consider this to be something called interval training. Essentially, there are recurrent starts and stops within a dancer's physical activity. Think of a rehearsal. As much time as you might spend dancing, you might also spend standing around and waiting. Therefore, slower digesting, more complex fibrous carbohydrate-rich foods, such as those found in whole grains, whole grain bread products, cereals, and crackers, can help to sustain energy during these extended periods where you might have to expend some energy, but also might not necessarily have the time to get in a full meal, let alone a full snack. So when we are building our snacks, thinking about incorporating as part of this nutrient or dancer fuel mix a source of complex carbohydrates is important. I often say that we start there. Start with a source of carbohydrate, and then we're going to continue to balance out this option by next considering a source of protein, which further helps with feelings of fullness and satiety. So some quick examples that dancers often like for their snacks include string cheese and yogurts, but also adding nut butters and nuts and seeds. These are also protein-rich foods that can further support your balanced snack. Legumes like edamame, chickpeas. I've seen dehydrated chickpeas as a chip option or a topping in your yogurt can also be an example. And the third part of that balanced snack would be a source of fat. Adding some avocado to a turkey or a veggie wrap can be helpful. Sprinkling some chia or flax into a smoothie. Or, as I mentioned earlier, spreading some nut butter on some crackers so long there isn't an allergy at your studio can be a great option. What about timing? So I've previously given considerations for dancers to think about when it comes to a meal or snack prior to dancing, a mid-performance, so if you're dancing for an extended period, having something to pick up your energy levels mid-performance, and then of course considerations for after performance. Generally, when it comes to snacking around these times, we want to think about a couple shifts, especially the closer we get to the time of dancing. So I'm referring to that 30 to 60 minute window prior to your dance class. If you feel that a snack is going to further support your dancing, because depending on your day schedule and when you were able to get into meals and snacks, it's not always imperative that a dancer have a snack an hour before dancing. But for some dancers, it will absolutely help them to get through a longer period of dancing, especially if you're dancing up to 3, 4, 5 or more hours. Then a snack might be essential. If you're only dancing for an hour or two and you recently had a meal, then a snack prior to dancing, it might not necessarily be something that your body needs at that time. And that's where oftentimes when I'm working with dancers, we'll do some explorative work where we are identifying energy levels, hunger cues, fullness cues, and so forth throughout our day to identify potential patterns at which we could benefit from having a snack. But if you do feel that getting in something before a longer bout of dancing is going to help you, the closer we are to that time of dancing, a couple shifts can be made, specifically around the carbohydrates you're choosing. We do want to try to aim for options that are going to be more easily digestible and provide us with more accessible energy. So options that are slightly lower in fiber can be helpful. A couple examples include applesauce, a fruit pouch or a fruit smoothie, dried fruit, pretzels, even homemade energy balls or oat bites, as I like to call them. And then pairing this with a source of protein will help to prevent the potential for any energy crashes later in the afternoon. Bars can also be helpful, especially fruit-based bars, but you'll want to be careful that your bar doesn't also include isolates, like fiber isolates that some companies will add to their snack bars as a means to increase the fiber content of them. These isolates often can cause a lot of digestive discomfort for dancers, which is not necessarily something you want to experience while you're in the studio or while you're on stage. And similarly, after dancing, so in the post-performance period, we're definitely going to benefit from some type of recovery meal or snack. Now, within that 30 to 60 minute window, there is some research to suggest that sticking to those same easily digestible, lower fiber carbohydrates will actually help to provide your body with more accessible energy to replenish glycogen or energy stores for your next bout of dancing, even if it's for tomorrow. I often encourage that dancers don't fixate too much on this and instead focus on at least getting in some type of recovery meal or snack within that hour or two after dancing. A couple favorite examples: chocolate milk actually has a really awesome ratio of protein and those simple, easily digestible carbohydrates to help replenish your energy and even promote muscle recovery. Also, pairing some crackers with string cheese can be a very accessible option, especially if you have a longer commute before you get home and before you can even have a full meal. Adding some chopped nuts or some seeds if you have an allergy to a yogurt, like a Greek yogurt, is another example. Drizzling some honey into the mix can also provide those simple sugars to help replenish energy. So as a recap, we want to remember that your snacking game is going to be an essential part of your dancer fueling plan. And incorporating anywhere from 1 to 3 snacks in your day will definitely vary dependent on your personal schedule, how you can or maybe even cannot get in full meals throughout your day. Remembering that if you can't get in a full meal, then perhaps splitting it into 2 smaller snacks, if that's more attainable for you, can be very helpful. When it comes to building your snacks, we definitely want to focus on balance. Start by thinking about your source of carbohydrates, and for the most part, when accessible, getting in some complex carbohydrates, such as those coming from whole grains, whole grain bread products, cereals, and crackers. And then, of course, pairing this with foods that are richer in protein and foods that are richer in fat. This will help to build a more balanced meal experience and therefore allow you to feel more energized, fulfilled, and satisfied until the next opportunity you have to get in an energy refuel. Remember, snacks help to bridge our meals, especially when extended periods exist between getting in two of your meals. It's very common for dancers to have the ability to get in a full breakfast early in the morning and then a full dinner later in the evening. But the daytime hours get a little bit wonky because of crazy, hectic, busy, and physically active schedules. This is where your snacks are going to come into play. Make sure they're balanced, make sure they've got that abundance and variety of foods to help support your overall calorie and nutrient goals. I've got a bunch of examples of snacks on the blog, which I'll link in the show notes, along with a completely free recipe guidebook that you can download, and even a list of some of my favorite convenient and packaged snacks. For dancers who take it a step further and join me within the Healthy Dancer program, I've got a full recipe index and digital cookbooks with more meal and snack ideas that will support each and every eating opportunity you have to fuel your body as a dancer. If any questions come up, don't hesitate to reach out. You know where to find me. And until next time, I'll talk to you soon.